July 21st, Rameshwar sends copy of the July 9th letter to the GBCs. After the July 9th letter was signed by Srila Prabhupada, copies of the letter were supposed to be mailed out to the GBC and all the temple presidents. Of course, rather than doing this from Vrindavan, where at the time there was no ready access to, easy access to copy machines, the letter was mailed off to Rameshwar, who was the GBC for the Los Angeles Center, which was at ISKCON's world headquarters at the time. And from there, Rameshwar could have copies of the letter made much more easily and mailed out to the 22 GBC members and 100 plus temples and centers around the world. The July 9th letter was addressed to the members of the GBC and to the temple presidents. And the July 10th letter, Tam Saduda, in that letter, Tamal writes, quote, a newsletter is being sent out to all temple presidents and GBC in this regard, listing the 11 Ritviks selected by His Divine Grace, end of quote. In the letter to Kirtanananda on July 11th, Tamal writes, a letter has been sent to all temple presidents and GBC, which you should be receiving soon, describing the process of initiation to be followed in the future. Even though he first states that the letter has been sent out, he clarifies it several lines later, where he wrote, you can wait for this letter to arrive. The original has been sent to Rameshwar Maharaj for duplicating. Then all the persons whom you recommended in your previous letters can be initiated. So the letter had been sent to Rameshwar, and he was to send it out to all the GBC and temple presidents. And up to at least July 21st, that was the plan. Some devotees at the time have stated that it was a fact, that stated it as a fact, that the July 9th letter was mailed out to all the temples. However, that is not what happened. On July 21st, Rameshwar wrote a letter to all the members of the GBC. And I'll read part of that letter here. Dear GBC Prabhus, please accept my most humble obeisances and the dust of your feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I have just received some letters from Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and I'm enclosing herein 2 documents. 1, Srila Prabhupada's final version of his last will, and 2, Srila Prabhupada's initial list of disciples appointed to perform initiations for His Divine Grace. This list is also being sent to all centers. End of quote from the letter. Rameshwar refers to the July 9th letter as the list and says that it is Srila Prabhupada's initial list of those who he has appointed to perform initiations for His Divine Grace. The letter is addressed and sent to, this letter is addressed and sent to only members of the GBC. Rameshwar mentions that the list is also being sent out to all centers. However, while this cover letter that was sent to the GBC is in the database, I haven't found any such cover letter that was sent to the temple presidents, nor have I found any other proof that Rameshwar actually sent this letter to the temple presidents. I'm adding a voice-only insert. Note that Rameshwar does not inform the other GBC members that this is a list of those His Divine Grace has selected as the next 11 new acharyas, who will be initiating their own disciples on the disappearance of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. He only mentions that these men are selected to perform initiations for His Divine Grace, period. What this shows us is that as of July 21st, 1977, this was the understanding of those GBC men who had seen this letter up to that date. They were only of the understanding that the men selected here were selected to initiate on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. However, just after this date, before Rameshwar actually sent copies of this letter to the temple presidents, it appears that this understanding changed. Being influenced by the flawed GBC report, the understanding changed, and it was then seen that the list given here of the 11 men was in actuality the list of the 11 new acharyas. And with that new understanding, the decision was made that it would be in the best interest of the society to not send this list, the July 9th letter, to the temple presidents or to the temples at this time. And no copies of this letter were ever sent out to the temples.